Another exciting show. Yes, we we had to bring the truth again, and one of my buddies, he's about to grace the stage, and I'm telling you, y'all gonna be in for a treat with Mr. Jeff Canady. I'm gonna tell y'all a little story. I always tell you all to remember the bridges you cross. I remember years ago I was a service tech, and I had a call out to Jeff's address, and so I'm not gonna tell you where he stayed, but we met on a service call. I had no idea that we would, cross paths again. And so here it is today. This gentleman has excelled since the last time I'd seen him. So I guarantee y'all, please stay tuned for this exciting show on the other side. God bless you. Again, hey, how's everybody doing today? This is Coach Keller. Let's do a little house cleaning. I got to turn my phone down and off. Forgot to put it on Do Not Disturb because folk will call at the craziest time. But we're going to jump into this interview. This young man has impressed me with his musicianship, his humbleness, his professionalism. I've seen him play. He's just first rate musician, first rate person, wonderful husband to his wife, wonderful family man. Okay, we're introducing Jeff Canady. So let me go through his bio real quick. Jeff was born and raised in the city of Detroit. He began playing the drums at age 4. Because of his extraordinary talent, Jeff became the full-time drummer at age 7 at the church he attended. At the youthful age of 17, he co-founded a soulful jazz ensemble called Enchanted, which secured weekly engagements and regular performances until the group disbanded to pursue other musical endeavors in 2006. The sound, energy, creative style and deliverance of Jeff's performance captivate and hypnotize his audience, creating more fans with each drum beat. As a talented performer, songwriter, and producer, Jeff has been able to continue to develop his craft while working with some of the industry greats. It's so many people here, y'all. I'm gonna have to read the condensed list. His catalog of work is just amazing. I'm gonna read some of these folk. Dave McMurray, Kindred and the Family Soul, the late Michael Henderson, Gene Carne, Randy Scott, Mike Ellison, aka Mike E, Lord Yancy, Karen Clark-Sheard, gospel great, Evelyn Turrentine-Agee, Derrick, Mylan and the crew, David Myles, Mark Mix, shout out to Mark Mix, he went to my high school, Sean Blackman, Kimmie, Horne, Penny Wells, Thornetta Davis, Willie Bradley, Eric, Darious, and the list goes on and on. Ruben Studdard, Phil Denny, Stokely Williams, comedian Sinbad, Peter Wright, Alex Bouillon, and we got to give a big shout out to the Contours, Devin Skillian, and Alex Bouillon and Alexander Zonjic. He's been with Alexander a long time. Jeff Lorber and others. Oh my God. It was like reading 4-5 paragraphs. Yes, we're going to bring him on, but he continues to perform locally and he tours. He has 2 CDs named From Heart and Soul and Expression of Me, and his latest CD came out in 2018, Better With Time. So please, y'all, let's give a warm and exciting welcome to our good friend, our buddy. Wait a minute, let me find the applause here, dog. Lord, well, here you go. Jeff Canady, yeah! Oops, I ain't playing long enough. There we go. What's going on, Jeff Canady? What's happening, brother? What's happening?
Man, all is well, man. Happy to be here, man. Happy to be on the show with you, my brother.
Man, Man, reading that roster, you know I went to Detroit public schools, so I was struggling, all right. Man, that is a lot of people. So how did you get into drumming? I mean, you started at 4 and then you advanced to 7 and you had this group for all these years. What propelled you to go to the drum set?
Well, I was kind of just born with it, born with the gift. You know, it all started with my parents. You know, my parents are musicians and singers.
Really?
Yep. My mom is an organist and a singer, and my dad is a bass player and a singer.
Really?
So yeah, man. So it's just in the family, man. And so, you know, I have a quick story. My grandmother told me before she passed on, and basically, when you know, I was probably about a year old.
Mm-hmm.
Well, about 2 years old, because
Okay.
I was able to stand up in the playpen. And so, um, my grandmother said one day she was walking through the house, and they would put me right in front of the TV, you know, to keep me, keep me focused on something.
Mm-hmm.
She said she would hear a commercial would come on and she would hear tapping. You know what I mean? And it
Right.
would be going with the beat. So she said, "Nah, it couldn't be him. You know, he ain't playing. He ain't got no beat like that."
Mm-hmm.
So she said she peeked around the kitchen because another commercial came on and she wanted to see. And sure enough, I'm tapping along with the commercial. And she said, "And you were on beat." So, you know, from that point on, I felt what my mom was saying all them years, like, no, God gave you that gift
Mm-hmm.
to play drums.
Right.
It was in you. And I truly believe that, you know what I'm saying? Just listening to that story from my grandmother, like, yeah, you know, you were actually playing with commercials.
Wow.
So yeah, you know, that's where that love of drumming comes from. I think God just blessed me with that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So you just kept playing and playing. Did you drum in elementary school? I mean, junior high, high school. Did you drum in any of these intervals?
Well, actually in elementary, I was involved in a music class, and they had a gentleman come in to teach us a few songs for a concert that we did,
Okay.
and it was Little Drummer Boy.
Oh wow.
So
How
so you
ironic.
already knew. I was excited. I was popping my little collar like, yeah, I'm gonna get this part. So he had about six of us, and you know, we played. He taught us what to play, and you know, that's what we did. And actually, I got the part because see, the thing was, the church that I grew up in was my great uncle's church.
Oh really?
Um, yep, west side of Detroit, Chicago and Hubble. The name is Prayer Temple Missionary Baptist Church,
I don't know what that's at.
and
Wow.
that's where I grew up. And you know, it was older gentleman that played drums and the older gentleman that played bass guitar, and my auntie was the organist.
Wow. Family.
Yes.
Wow.
So I would always, you know, be near the drums, watching. His name was Hillary King. That was his name,
Okay.
and I would watch him like a hawk, man, every Sunday. And so, he would, after service, he would take me and put me right on his lap and give me the sticks, and he'd play the foot pedal, and I'll play the top parts.
Wow.
And so when I was in elementary, it was like I already knew how to control the drumsticks to play the little part that the gentleman told me.
Right.
So he looked, once I played, he said, "Wow, okay, yeah, you doing pretty good." So he gave the other guys, you know, the other little boys another chance, and he said, "Okay, we're gonna give it to Mr. Canady. He's gonna lead the song, you know, for the concert."
Okay.
And that's what I did. You know, they put three different drum snares up, and three of us, two guys were behind me, and I was in the front.
Mm-hmm.
And when we did Little Drummer Boy, I took the little drum solo.
Wow.
Yep. And far as middle school, you know, I wanted to get into marching band,
Okay.
but you know, when I got in there, her name was Miss Miller,
Mm-hmm.
and she was world renowned here in Detroit for being an excellent music teacher.
Okay.
And so Spain Middle School, they had a reputation at the time where they went out of town, they went overseas, and I was like, I want in on that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to talk to Miss Miller. My dad was like, yeah, just go and talk to her and, see if she'll let you in. And so I had this whole idea. Hey, I want to play snare drum.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I knew I was the type of drummer that loved to play a full set of drums, I knew, okay, if I go into the music room, I want to play snare drum.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at Miss Miller and said, hey, Miss Miller, I want to join. She said, okay, well, come on in. And I'll tell you a little bit about how we do things. So I'm thinking, okay, this is about to work out for me. I'm about to be on snare drum. I'm about to do my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Show them what I can do.
Right.
And she pulls out a tuba.
What?
And I said, Miss Miller, what I'm going to do with that? I'm not into tuba. I'm a drummer. I love to play drums. So she said, well, Mr. Canady, this is the way we do it. Everybody that comes in for the first time, you don't jump into the drum chair. You have to learn other instruments and then work your way up to the drum chair. So, being impatient because, hey, I want to play the drums. I don't want to play anything else.
Right.
I said, well, no, Miss Miller, I would love to play the drums. So basically, she said, well, this is all we have, Mr. Carne. You either do that or, you're probably not interested in joining the band. So I said, well, Miss Miller, I'm going to go ahead and I'll do vocal. So I'll join the vocal class because I sing as well.
Oh, really?
Because I have a family. Oh, yeah. I have my family. They singers and musicians.
Oh, who knew?
So that's what I decided to do. And, high school, I didn't really, I wanted to join vocal class. So that's what I did in high school. I sang and, I went to Murray Wright High School.
Murray Wright. Pilots, right?
Oh, yeah. Pilots. And we did well, man. We did a lot of competitions. And I'm glad I made that move.
Okay.
Because I learned a lot about my vocals and how, the music teacher we had, Henry Parker.
Okay.
Man, he taught us a lot on how to sing, how to breathe, how to pronunciate. So I learned a lot in high school being in vocal class.
Wow. So you didn't quit your passion of playing the drums. You didn't just let that just stop you. You found something else to do.
No.
Okay. Wow.
Because on the other end, on the other side of school, once I became the church drummer at 6, I played every Sunday. And, I was playing in rehearsal. So that was my thing. I would, play, go home. And then at that time, that's when BT, was real big, cable. So, I would go home and try to find all the gospel videos with all the, sweet gospel drummers. And that's what I would do, man. Go to church and play, come home and watch those videos.
Who were some of your influences back then? People that you paid attention to?
Definitely, far as gospel, I had one guy, Liddell Abrams.
Oh, God, yes.
And Liddell,
yes.
From Detroit, played with John P. Key. Yes. I mean, you name it, he played for him. That was one of my biggest influences. And also, on the other side of music, far as fusion, jazz, funk, it was Dennis Chambers.
Oh, no, really? So you followed his tour from Parliament on to John Schofield and others, Special FX. Oh my God! Wow.
Oh yeah. And that's what made me want to create the speed I have on drums.
Okay.
I was always, after I listened to Dennis and saw Dennis, because I had this cassette tape. I mean, not cassette tape. I had this VCR tape of him. It was this video called "In the Pocket."
Oh,
I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Man, I wore that video out, brother. When I tell you the tape didn't even, it was crazy. But because John Schofield was a part of that video.
Yes. Oh God. That was basically that was the whole Blue Matter album. The songs
Yes.
they was doing. I was like, and that set he had, that Pearl set he had back then.
Oh man,
God.
turquoise blue.
Yes. Come on, I gotta give you a dap for that one, man.
Dude, bro. I'm telling you, man. And so that blew my mind because I was at that time I was about 10. I was 10 years old, and I'm like, dude, what am I listening to right now? I was so blown away. And so that made that generated me to go in the basement and like practice every day.
And I like that you mentioned him because in '83, Dennis Chambers and Parliament Funkadelic went on Saturday Night Live. I didn't know who he was, and they were the special guests, and I'm like, who is that? He was, man. I was like, who is that? I didn't know who he was till years later. I'm like, because he used to always what he still do. And I'm like, who is that? And then when I started seeing him on the jazz scene, I said, that's the same guy.
Yep.
Great mentor. I like the gospel here and then fusion here. I like the balance.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
Because I like Dennis only for the sheer fact he was different. And I like Dave Weckl, don't get me wrong, I've seen him, but I like Dennis because it had more soul to it. And no disrespect to Dave Weckl, great guy. So I'm at a clinic here. But I like Dennis because it represented more of what I like. And I could hear that foot and that funk. So that's an excellent choice. Oh my God. So those were some of your influences. So as you got into your 20s, what did you go to school? Or were you working? What did you do at that time?
So right after high school, in high school, I went to school with this guy, Kevin Tubbs. And he was a keyboard player. And so he was in a grade higher than me. So when I got to 9th grade, 10th grade, he was in 11th grade, and that's when we met. We met in the vocal room because he was one of the guys who would play keyboard and piano. And so, man, we got real cool, man, real tight. So after high school, we used to go around to different churches and play.
Really?
Yep. His family is the Berry family, and so they're kind of big in the gospel field here in Detroit.
Wait. Never mind. I know who you're talking about. That's all.
You know what I'm talking about? Okay. David Berry and
oh yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So he's a part of that family. So we would go all over the place, man, and play. I'm on drums, he on organ.
Right.
And so we went to this church. Man, I can't think of the name of the church right now, but we did a concert for the church.
Mm-hmm.
And so Kevin, his god brother, was a musician, keyboardist, and a singer. And so he was the music director for this for that church that we went to.
Okay.
And so he ended up getting bass player Anthony Tolson.
I know. Oh God,
Yep, you knew about Anthony Tolson.
Yeah, he was high school. I know exactly who that is. Who he was. It was a great guy.
Who he was, yeah.
Great
late
guy.
Anthony Tolson. And so he played bass for the concert.
That's a lineup right there.
Yeah. And, and we were young guys. I mean, at that time, I think me and Kev, fresh out of high school, I was probably about 19.
Mm-hmm.
Kev was about 18. Because, I went to school late because my birthday in December. So I was older than him and Tolson.
Right.
So Tolson was about 16, man, and playing like a grown man, you know what I mean? On bass.
And he didn't start off at bass.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I know.
I was like...
keys, steel drum.
Wow.
You name it, Tolson could do it.
Yeah.
And he played the drums,
Wow.
And so that's how we hooked up with Lamar Woodall, which was the saxophone player.
Okay.
That eventually we got together and formed the band Enchanted. Okay. And so this is going into that world of the band that I started, that I built. I would say that. Okay. So Anthony Tolson and Lamar were best friends. Mm-hmm. They grew up together. Mm-hmm. So we did this one little gig called Mac Alive. Okay. It was in the parking lot of this church on Mac and Outer Drive. Okay. Oh, yes. Right across from the funeral home. Right. So it was a little festival they did. So, we all got together and we like, man, we gonna go over here and do this thing. And now we never really had a rehearsal. It was just a thing of we called out some songs and we played. Man, the first show we did together, which was that, man, it was like magic. Wow. I mean, the people really received us, and this one deacon asked us, man, how long you young boys been playing together? Mm-hmm. And we were like, well, honestly, this is our first gig as a unit, as a group. Mm-hmm. He said, get out of here. From that moment on, we all looked at each other and said, this is something we need to do. Right. And so, and I'll go back some. Okay. The band, we wasn't called Enchanted at that time. Okay. So what ended up happening, fast forwarding from that moment, we decided, okay, we're going to become a group because, none of us really had a job, but we knew we all wanted to be a part of music. You know what I mean? Right. We hold on. So, hold on for a hot long second. Story short, we kind of hold on, Jeff. I got to bring this person. Rodney White say, hey, my brothers. And yeah, we just want to shout him out. Rodney, what's up, bro? What's up, Rodney? Now go ahead, finish what you were saying. Sorry to interrupt you. Just want to bring that in. Go ahead. No problem at all. So we end up meeting a gentleman by the name of Michael Hall. Okay. And so Michael was a young, how can I put it? Well, he was a manager that was pretty young, but he was older than us. Michael was probably about 26 at the time when he got us. Okay. So, of course, he's like, man, I need to manage you guys because he heard us doing another little church event. Okay. And this was kind of like a church shed type of thing. So he came and heard us, and he's like, oh man, I like what y'all doing. Mm-hmm. So we told him, hey, we just kind of getting together. We want to do more, but we all was young, so right. We didn't, we couldn't really book shows ourselves. We didn't really know how. So Mike says, hey, I do. So Mike sat down with us, had a conversation, and we got with him. He brought 2 singers in because we didn't have any singers. I wasn't singing. Mm-hmm. So he brought in 2 singers and he said, we're going to create a group. Okay, let's do it. So one day he got this little wedding reception we did. And he's like, man, look, we sitting at the table before we played. He said, man, we need a name. Mm-hmm. We just can't go up there and y'all just start playing. You guys need a name. So we all sat there and just thought up a bunch of names. Mm-hmm. And somebody was like, man, dude, when we play, it's like magic, though. Mm-hmm. Because we like having a conversation. Right, so right. They brought up magic. So I don't know who it was. I think it was Kev. He said, man, I think we should name the band something like Enchantment or Enchanted. And then I was like, no, man, we can't do Enchantment. That's right. That's a group already. That's a group already, right. So Michael said, well, let's just do Enchanted. We can just use that for the night. We all kind of look like Enchanted. Yeah, that's got a little ring to it. Right. So, okay, we'll use it for the night. And so we used it when we went up. And people really got with it. Like, man, Enchanted, man, I love that name. So by the time the end of the night, we said, okay, we Enchanted now. Mm-hmm. You said something that really rung out that most older school musicians know. When you're playing an instrument, you're having a conversation. Yes. I'm having a conversation with the bass player. He's having a conversation with the lead.
He's having a conversation with the keyboard player. He's having a conversation with the Hammond B3 player, who's having a conversation with the artist. And if we are having conversations, but we're playing together, the communication is great. So when
Yep.
you all did that, that's why y'all got a lot of callbacks. We have a couple of more comments here.
Mm-hmm.
Devon Johnson says Jeff is definitely the reason I'm playing drums today. So he wanted to give
Divine,
you
what's up, my
yeah, what's up, Devon? And
appreciate you, bro.
he also wanted to say rest in heaven, Stephen Bibbs, because Bibbs passed this
Yes.
past week, so we all knew him, great guy. So
Oh man.
phenomenal drummer, phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
So you have conversations and see yo Devon said, "Hey, bro." Hey, thanks, Devon, for tuning in. But see,
Yes, sir. Thanks, man.
that's what has kept you busy
Mm-hmm.
because your humbleness, number one. Number two, you learn how to play, and number three, lastly, Devon said that Steve and Bibbs loved the way that you played.
Oh yeah.
That's a big compliment.
Yes, sir. Steve.
But see, that's the epitome of professionalism. When the reason why you had so many gigs, as I was saying, you humble, you knew how to play because you started early. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you learn how to play pocket, add color as you go, accent as you go. Then it's when you time to shine. Yeah, you know how to do that, but you basically keep the time of the band, the choir, the orchestra. You got it.
Yes.
Then when we could depend on you, that's why it took me almost 2 minutes to read that long list of artists. My goodness, my computer was shaking. Good Lord, it's a lot of people. But
Right.
your professionalism has led you to these different groups. So, you did Enchanted. When did artists start paying attention to you so far as groups wanting you to play for them?
Really, with that, I can go back when I got with this these two gentlemen,
Mm-hmm.
Al McKenzie and Daryl Peanut Smith.
Mm.
And really, the first time I got with those two guys, that's when I learned so much about music, as far as being a drummer. And I learned technique. I really learned how to be on top of my game. With those guys, they taught me a lot of valuable lessons, man. And to me, once I got with them and went through their school of hard knocks, because them brothers was hard. You know what I mean? They didn't take no mess. They didn't play no games. You know what I'm saying? They would get on me like, hey man, you got to do this. You got to learn this. You got to be on top of this. And so, to me, when got through their school of learning, that's when my playing got better. I really understood about learning music, and really like um, really just paying attention to the whole band.
Right.
Being a team player, because sometimes being a drummer, like the way I grew up, I didn't grow up with a lot of musicians at the church.
Mm.
You got some drummers, they grew up with some of the best. You know what I mean? So they learned a lot of that stuff way early. Me, I was the type of drummer, man, I just loved to play. I had a lot of energy. I was listening to Dennis Chambers, so a lot of stuff he was doing, I would do that all on the gigs. So when I got with them, I got more structure.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I got you.
So that's when, yeah, I started getting noticed by other musicians and artists because, they started noticing, okay, this brother on time, he's prepared, he knows his music. You know what I mean? And you know what I'm saying? He comes with great equipment, because that's a big thing too, man. Your equipment is a big part of your playing. You know what I mean? Come well dressed. You know what I mean? So, all those things play a big part. And no matter how talented you are, if the artist can't rely on you, you know what I'm saying? They're not gonna take a chance.
No.
You know what I mean?
I've been in the music game ever since my mother used to play for the choir, and
Mm-hmm.
I've seen musicians come and go. The best ones are always the humble ones that were teachable and did the 5 things that you just named. Okay,
Yeah.
on time, equipment, easy to work with, know the music, dress well, smell good. Okay.
Yeah. All that. All
We
that.
discussed that already. I'm like, yeah, saying he's saying the same thing that we were talking about. And then I thought about it. I said, yeah, your training was different because when I was coming up, if you played for Thomas Whitfield, everybody was coming to get you because that's
Oh yeah.
how Carne got his start. That's how Valdez got his start. And then when Dana started playing for him, next thing you know, you see him playing for all these different people. Even though he was playing for the Winans, but still, that Whitfield connection was huge, as well as
Yep.
Steve Bibbs and a whole host of other musicians. And yeah, I came up in the town with all these jokers, so I got to know them over the years and see your path was different, but you didn't stop your path. And that's
No.
what's so impactful. I'm like, I'm loving this. This is great, Jeff. How did how did Alexander Johnchik find you?
So with Alex, I played for two smooth jazz artists. One Lynn Rountree.
Oh yes,
Um, yeah,
yeah,
I played with Lynn Rountree for a long time.
really,
Yep, I played with Lynn Rountree, and then I played with Deon Yates. I don't know
okay,
if you know about Deon, saxophonist from Detroit, and we would do a lot of the festivals for Alex.
really.
Yep. And so I can remember doing some of the festivals and never Alex would never like really look my way or really say too much but hello and goodbye, that type of thing. And we did with Lynn Rountree, we did a gig, we did one of the festivals in Muskegon,
Mm-hmm.
and I never forget it. Um to that particular night, man, it was like magic, man. The band, we was on fire. Everything was going great. And so when we got off the set, Alex walked. He usually announced people, when they're coming off and going on. He stopped mid traction to the stage and came right over there to me and said, "I really enjoyed you, and I'm going to be calling you very soon." And I was blown away, like, whoa, okay. So at that point, I'm excited. I'm like, okay, I got Alex ear, cool. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But two, I heard a lot of horror stories, so I was kind of like intimidated a little bit too. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna fit in because I know so many great drummers that play with him. It just didn't work out.
Right.
But once I got that opportunity, the one thing I learned about Alex is not that he's this crazy guy or he just always like the fuss and all that stuff. See, Alex is always about professionalism. Long as those 5 things we talked about, as long as you do those things and you do them well, you will never have an issue. As long as I play with Alex, I think I've been with Alex about at least 5 years
Wow.
at this point. And me and Alex never had a disagreement, never had a falling out.
Wow.
Never had a situation out of all those shows I've done. It's never been anything crazy because, like I told you again, I come in, I know my music. Even when artists come in,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times with these artists, we don't have a rehearsal.
Okay.
We don't do rehearsal. Alex send us the song. We do a line check at the gig, and that's when we run the songs for the artists. And these artists come with 3 songs.
But you're already prepared.
We already prepared because we've done the homework by ourselves, and then we come together the day of the show and run it with the band and then with the artist.
Oh, and they love that because y'all know the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? And it's like if you learn how to do those things and be accountable,
Mm-hmm.
trust me, you would never have a problem with an artist. You know what I mean?
Right. Wow. So you still get with Alexander when he calls? He calls.
Yes.
Wow. Because I've been listening to Alexander Zanchik since WJZZ was on the radio. It's been that long. Because I'm 56. And I remember in my 20s, I would turn on WJZZ and he would be on. And if he wasn't
Yep.
here, he was somewhere around the world. And I was like, and then when I started seeing people playing for him, I was like, wow. And then when you got with him, I was like, wow. I was like, just playing for Alexander. You know how many doors that opens just being
Yep.
professional? You know what I'm saying? And then so how did you find time to play for these different artist studio and go on? How did you do it?
You know what? It's just, it's just God, man. He gives me the strength, even though He opened the doors. He gives me the strength to be able to endure it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And really, it's not hard because it's something I love.
Wow.
I absolutely love music.
Wow.
My wife sometimes, be frowning at me when we go out to the market
Mm-hmm.
or we go to the store. I be da 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 da, singing and dancing and coming up with tunes. And most times, because I'm a producer and
Mm-hmm.
I write music, I always have. If you look in my phone, I have this recorder in my phone, and I at least have probably about 200 songs.
Mm.
That I just hummed in my phone.
Really?
200. Well, I would say 200 ideas,
Mm.
and most times they hit me at different times. So I can honestly be looking at a suit, in the store, and be like, ba da 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 da. And when I do stuff like that, my wife already know what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's about to pull out the phone and he's
Right.
about to sing it. People in the store looking at me like, what is wrong with this guy?
Mm.
But I'm creating, and so I just love music. So when I get the call to go in the studio, I mean, it's like, a person that, get that job that they dreamed of. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Right.
Or, you doing what you love right now. It's the same thing. When you have an artist that's coming on, you're like,
Right.
oh man, I'm excited. Let's go. Let's do it. Same thing with music, man. It's like any opportunity come my way, I'm always eager to do it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Because I just love it so much. It's just a passion within me.
Yeah, because I can tell because your roster of artists, you can play jazz, you can play gospel. Derrick, Mylan, and the crew. Now, was that
Yeah.
studio or how was that? Did you play for the group? Did you go out with them? What was that like?
Yes, it's this guy, Brian Watkins. And Brian is an organist. And I used to stay when I stayed with my father, we stayed right up the street from the church Brian played at.
Oh, okay.
And so I met Brian through Kevin Tubbs, the gentleman I went to school with.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would go up to the church all the time and just, kick it with we called him B Love. That
Okay.
was his that's his nickname. And so the drummer Rodney, great guy, he ended up having shoulder surgery.
Oh.
So Brian, I mean, B Love knew I stayed right up the street. So he said, "Man, look, I need you to come and sit in, because he heard me play a few times. He said, I need you to come in and sit in on Sunday if you got an opening."
Mm-hmm.
And so at this time, I was freelancing different churches at that moment. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, cool. So I came in I think I was there for at least 2 months,
Oh, okay.
and I was, just taking over for Rodney. And so I think after one service or rehearsal, B Love came up to me and said, "Hey man, I got an opportunity." Because he played for Derrick Mylan.
Okay.
So he said, "I got an opportunity, man. If you want to take it, I got a couple shows to do with Derrick Mylan. We got a couple gigs, so if you want to do it, you're in." I said, "Yeah, sure." I knew who Derrick Mylan was, so I'm
Yeah.
like, I definitely want to do it.
Right.
So I ended up doing 2 gigs with them.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Wow. Now, then you can do that, and then how did you end up playing for Kindred Soul? How did how did you get that gig?
Oh man, so that was interesting. So I know you remember the great, and this brother was, man, this brother was everything to me as well. Greg Dokes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Ah. Man, Miss Greg, man, still today. But Greg Dokes was one of the artists and musicians that kind of took me under their wing
Mm-hmm.
when really nobody else was like really paying attention to me.
Right.
Greg came and got me, man. Was like, hey, kind of just teaching me the ropes. Anthony Tosin played with Greg at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and so he asked me. I was doing a few gigs with him at Floods,
Okay.
him and Gwen Fox,
Okay.
and so he was like, "Man, hey, I got an opportunity for you. We're going to be playing with Michael Henderson." So that's how I started out. So
Wow.
we get to the rehearsal. We running everything down with Michael Henderson. So I'm on that show. Now, probably 2 days before the actual show, because we were supposed to do the Ribs and Soul Fest.
Yeah. Okay.
And this one, the Ribs and Soul Fest, was huge downtown. So he calls me back and said, "Hey, Michael Henderson is bringing in Kendrick and Family Soul, but the drummer, he can't do it. So, we need you to play with us, with them as well." Now, at this point, I'm not really into really learning music. I mean, I would learn it,
Right.
but I didn't know the concept. Is a concept to learning music. You know what I mean? Especially a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was already like intimidated because I know who these artists are.
Mm-hmm.
We get to the rehearsal. Kendrick and Family Soul was like livid because they didn't know that the drummer wasn't available.
Wow.
So they looking at me like, who is this young dude? We never seen him before. We don't know if he can play. So that made me even nervous, even more nervous. So now I'm like playing all timid, scared. So Greg was like, come here. So I went over to him and he just whispered in my ear. He said, "It's nothing to be scared of. I mean, just play, man. You love music, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love it." He's like, "Just play. God gonna give you everything you need." Just like that. God
Mm-hmm.
gonna give you everything you need. And man, that put like a warm feeling all over me, man. I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna play, man. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. So we did the rehearsal, and man, we did the gig, and the gig went great.
Wow.
And it was like everybody was down there, like
Mm-hmm.
all the cats, and man, they got a standing ovation after that gig.
How did he act towards you after the gig?
Oh man,
Really?
they loved it. I mean,
Wow.
it was like, oh man, they ain't even missed the other drummer. You know what I
Wow.
mean? And then Michael Henderson, I played with Greg Dokes. We played with him a few times.
Mm-hmm.
We did a few gigs here in Detroit with him.
Wow.
And
Wow.
one of the gigs with him, Gene Kern came in,
Mm-hmm.
and they did their little duet thing.
Oh
And
yeah.
then my first gig was the great Al McKenzie, the
Mm-hmm.
great late Al McKenzie, the gentleman I mentioned earlier. That was my second show with her
Wow.
because he produced some of her music.
Mm. Okay. Wow. This is some history. This is
Oh man,
history,
I'm telling you,
man.
God has
Wow.
been amazing.
Yes, truly. So, what prompted you to start producing? I mean, how did you've done all these gigs, you worked with all these different acts. What made you want to take your journey to the next level?
So that happened after me and the band Enchanted we dispersed.
Mm.
So what ended up happening? All of us were talented in producing and writing.
Oh, okay.
So before we dispersed, we all came together and we were like putting together a project,
Okay.
and we just couldn't make it happen,
Mm.
because everybody at that point was doing. I mean, Anthony Tosin went on to be with Neo. He played with Fabulous. I mean, he was on a whole nother level at that point. That's where he was at. And then the three of us, myself, Kevin Tubbs, and Lamar Woodall. Um, Lamar and Kev, they started a little production company. And so I didn't really know about computers and all that stuff at that point.
Okay.
So, Kev would call me like, hey, man, listen to this song we just came up with. And I'd be like, man, that's dope, man, So I was still just kind of tinkering. I had this like little bitty Casio keyboard. So I would sit down and come up with little chords, come up with little songs and stuff like that. So they said, man, you should come over to the studio. Man, what they say that for? So I went over there and I just came up with same thing I told you I'll be doing at the like little places I go.
Right.
I started humming something. And Kev said, keep humming that. So Kev, and this is how talented him and Lamar was. So I would sing everything to them how I wanted to go, and they would play it, mimic it like crazy. So we came up with the first tune, and I'm like, dude, that was a tune out of my head that y'all just put down. I got to learn how to do this. So before we left the studio, I said, man, I think we need to come up with a production company. Kev was like, well, we already kind of got something going on, but you can get in with us. Cool, let's do it. So it started from there. So I don't know if you know this guitarist from Detroit. His name is David Myles. Are you hip to David Myles?
He used to play jazz.
Yep, and he used to play with Stevie Wonder. He played with him. Is. He played with George Duke.
Miles and Miles.
So he was a heavy guy.
Yes.
So the name of his band was David Myles and Milestone.
Yep.
So I was a part of that band for a little while as well.
Wow.
So David came to me one day and said, hey, I'm about to work on this project, so I might be hiring you to play some drums. So I'm thinking, oh, you're going to come out with a project. Because at this point, with Kev and Lamar, I got maybe about 4 tunes that I kind of, did the same thing I was telling you about. Like, we kind of put it together. So I'm thinking, okay, you coming out with a project. Hey, Dave, how about, you let me submit a song to you? You ain't got to pay me for it. I'm just trying to get some music, on a project.
Right.
He said, well, bring it on. Let me hear it. I got it right here. So we played it, and his head was down at first, and then I seen him do this. Like, whoa, okay. So that first song and 2 other songs went on his project.
Wow.
And that was the very start. When that happened, I said, this is what I want to do.
Really?
I want this to be the other side of me playing drums.
Right.
And that was the launch of it.
So how did you got your feet wet in that, and then you got experience in it? How did you meet this gentleman who is now a Billboard #1 charting artist? How did that work? How did that all come together?
So I'll go back. I was playing with the artist Deon Yates.
Okay.
And so Deon Yates, smooth jazz artist, him and his wife used to do these series here in Detroit where they'll bring, like, I guess it would be, they would bring an artist in each month on a certain week or a certain day rather. And so Willie was one of the artists. So, yep. So Willie came in, and so we backed Willie. And so before the show, after sound check, we were in this little club. Well, no, it was a restaurant called Cola's off of Northwestern Highway.
Okay.
And so I was letting Terry Washington was the bass player in the MD. I don't know if you know Terry Washington. And so I was letting Terry hear my second project. And so Terry was like, man, this sounded real good. Willie was walking past the car and stopped. Hey, man, what's that? I said, well, hey, I got a few projects. Well, I have a project out, but this is my second one I'm about to release. He said, man, you need to put that out ASAP. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm trying to put, no, no, no. You need to get that on the radio. And I'm like, oh man, but at that point, I didn't know anything about how would you put something on radio.
Mm-hmm.
Now at that point, he's into, I think, his second project himself. So
Mm-hmm.
he's been putting stuff out on the radio already. So long story short, man, he was like, let me get your number. And he just started calling me. Man, Willie would call me at least 3 times a week
Wow.
for like 8 months. Jeff, man, you need to get this project out. So we lost touch for a year.
Okay.
So after that year, he kind of called me back. And so we, got to talking again. He's like, how's it going? Are you still working on the project? I'm like, no, I released that, man. I'm about to work on something new.
Mm-hmm.
So I was working on my latest project, Better With Time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this song that's like a 2-song EP.
Okay.
So the second song is called Funktagious.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought of Willie Bradley. I said, hey, Willie, man, I need you to play on this song. I
Mm-hmm.
want you and Demetrius Neighbors.
Oh
So I got
yeah.
Demetrius to play on it,
Yeah.
and I got Willie Bradley. So before Willie got on the song, of course I sent it to him so he can check it out. He said, send it to me, let me hear it, man. And so I sent it to him, and he called me back like 2 seconds later, like, hey, man, who did this track? I said, I did the track, Willie. That's why I want you to play on it, man.
Right.
Man, this track is incredible, man. I love it. He was like, in fact, I need you to do my whole third next project. I was like, what?
Wow.
He was like, I want my third project to sound just like that. I said, okay, let's do it. So we started, the end. We started like right after I released my project.
Okay.
He started sending me money. Okay, this is my idea I got. He sent me like 3 ideas, just some horn parts, and I built the rest of the song around it. And so that's how it began with the journey with him. And so when we got to what 2020, right after the pandemic started, he released that was the 4th single, and that was called "It's On Now." Willie Bradley, "It's On Now," and that's the one that started the whole #1 deal.
Wow.
It went straight to #1.
Yeah, I saw the video and I looked at the chart. I was like, wow. I was so impressed when you posted it. I was like, wow. So, what has happened since that project went to #1? Have people been trying to call you? What has happened since
Oh,
people? That's what I'm talking about.
yep. So, at that point, yeah, I've had a lot of artists hit me up like, hey man, I need a song. I need you like to even play just drums. Like, man, dude, I love your drum work so much. I want you to play on this song. I don't care how much it's gonna cost me. I
What?
want you on this song. So that's where it's been going, man. I've been doing a lot of that, and yeah, and then I'm planning on releasing my own tune as well.
So, how can the public get your works now? Where can they find your music at?
Oh man, iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, CD Baby. I mean anywhere you look that sells music or where you can stream, you'll find Jeff Canady.
So, since you got an artist that cracked Billboard, your phone has been ringing left and right. That's awesome,
Oh
man.
yeah,
That,
yes
that's
sir.
gonna keep you busy because once you do it again, the phone gonna keep ringing.
Oh
Man,
yeah.
I am so impressed because I've never interviewed someone that was a Billboard topping charting producer. This is a first. I mean, you just took Map TV to another level. I knew that you would, but I was like, wow. I mean, man,
Yep.
it.
And
Wow.
we got our second one in 21.
Willie Bradley.
Willie Bradley is on now, featuring who did we feature on? James Lloyd from Pieces of a Dream.
Oh yes. Oh my God. I used to love that group. So
Oh man.
he has two albums that charted with you all, right? Am I saying it right?
Yep.
Two.
Mm-hmm. Two singles that charted number one,
Mm.
and then they're both Sirius XM watercolor hits as well.
So when you chart, does Billboard send you a plaque or something? Or they send you something to let you know?
Well, basically, when you chart, you have to get your own plaques,
Okay.
but they do allow you to because sometimes you do have to get permission to get it. So the people that you buy the plaque from, they call Billboard just to say,
Mm.
hey, did this artist really
Right.
crack the number one spot? And once
Right.
they say yes, then you
Wow.
get your plaque.
Man. Man, you just enlighten our whole whole audience, man. Just in that wonderful experience that you brought, man. Please, man, please, sir, go to these sites, Spotify, Apple, all these places that he listed. Please buy his CD. He is a fantastic artist. As you have seen, he is a fantastic individual. Okay, he
Thank
gave
you.
y'all 5 keys of success of being a musician. If not, go back and rewind, rewind it and see what he
Rewind.
said.
And I would like to say, if God willing, next year, around March 20th, I'll be releasing my first single to radio.
Oh my goodness.
So that's exclusive, y'all. Don't nobody else know about this.
Hey,
So this is just for y'all ears. So I
yes.
want y'all to be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout for that. In fact, hit me up around that time. We're gonna do another show. You'll be season 2 special guest because we definitely want to shout that out. Oh my
Yes, sir.
goodness, we gotta shout that out, man. You brought the truth. I appreciate y'all. I hope that you all comment on the make some comments, y'all, so YouTube can see them, and y'all on Facebook land comment too, so he can see them. We appreciate y'all. Any last words you want to leave with the public, Jeff?
Hey, I just hope to see y'all soon. And yep, definitely Google Jeff Canady, and you will get all my music, everything I'm doing. Hit me up on Facebook, Jeff Canady, and yeah, hopefully I'll see y'all soon.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Hold on, don't hang
Yes,
up.
sir.
So
I
y'all,
won't.
so y'all, at another exciting show. I told y'all I was gonna bring the strength and bring the truth and bring another exciting guest. I told y'all. I know some folk don't believe it, but all these folk have made a plan and they're making it happen. Whether it's in music, whether it's in investments, whether it's in technology, they all have made a plan and they're making it happen. And with that, we're gonna end the show. I hope that you all enjoyed it and stay tuned. We have more exciting guests coming. God bless you.